The air in the jungle doesn't just hold moisture, it holds memory. It's thick with the scent of wet earth, blooming orchids, and 1,000 years of blood sacrifice. We are deep in the heart of the Peten Basin, in a year the scribes would mark as 9.16.1.0.0 in their long count. To us, it is 752 AD, and in this green, suffocating world, a king is being unmade. His name is Kinich Pakal, or it was. This morning he was the Holy Lord of Ake, a city of limestone and jade. He was the living embodiment of the sun, a man whose every step was a sacred act. His words were prophecy. His headdress of iridescent quetzal feathers was a crown that brushed the heavens. Tonight he is just meat. Stripped naked, his hands bound with coarse sisal rope that bites into his skin, he is being dragged through the mud by men whose language he understands, but whose faces are painted with the snarling jaguar of a rival god. The battle was swift, brutal, and absolute, a betrayal from within, a weakness in the outer walls, and the world had ended between one sunrise and the next. His city is now a column of smoke on the horizon, its temples burning, its people being shackled for the long walk to a new home and a new life as slaves. But what is happening to Pakal is not the simple fate of a defeated warrior. This is not the clean death he would have chosen on the battlefield, a quick obsidian blade to the heart. This is something else, something far more calculated, far more intimate in its cruelty. The man who ordered his capture, Lord Smoking Jaguar of the great city of Yakchilan, is a master of a different kind of warfare, not the war for territory, but the war for the soul. He understood something that lesser kings did not. A dead enemy is just a body, a broken enemy, a man stripped of his name, his face, his soul. That is a message. That is a monument to your power that will never decay. So Pakal is kept alive. Every agonizing step he takes, every stumble in the mud, every jeering laugh from his captors is part of a carefully orchestrated ritual of erasure. They are not just moving his body from one place to another. They are emptying him of his divinity, draining him of his kingship, one humiliation at a time, long before he ever reaches the city that will be his tomb. He can hear the howler monkeys screaming in the canopy above, their voices like the shrieks of the damned. He once thought they were sacred. Now they are just mocking him. As they march, they pass stone markers, stelae carved with the deeds of the Yakchilan kings. On one, he sees the image of Smoking Jaguar himself, standing triumphant over a captive. The captive is kneeling, stripped, his face contorted in a way that is not just pain, but a profound, soul-shattering shame. Pakal looks away, his stomach twisting. He's not just looking at a carving, he's looking at a prophecy. He is seeing his own future, etched in stone for all time. He is no longer a man who makes history. He is a man who is about to be made into it. After 3 days, the jungle thins. The air changes. It begins to carry a new smell, the sharp, sacred scent of burning copal incense, and the unsettling, metallic odour of a large-scale human sacrifice. And then he sees it, Yakchilan. It rises from the banks of the Usumacinta River like a dream or a nightmare. Pyramids of white limestone pierce the jungle canopy, their temples painted in vibrant reds and blues. The city is a riot of sound, the chanting of priests, the beat of drums, the roar of a crowd. It is a living, breathing god machine, and he is the offering that is about to be fed into its maw. They do not take him through a side gate. They drag him up the grand staircase of the main plaza, a staircase so steep it feels like climbing into the jaws of the sky. Thousands of people are waiting. Nobles adorned in jade and feathers, merchants, artisans, farmers, slaves. They line the plaza, their faces a mixture of awe, piety, and a hungry predatory excitement. This is not just a military victory, this is a religious festival. The arrival of Pakal is a holy day. He is the living proof of their god's power and their king's dominance. As he is pulled onto the flat, sun-baked stone of the plaza, the roar of the crowd becomes a physical force, a wave of sound that crashes over him. He sees Lord Smoking Jaguar for the first time. He is sitting on a throne carved in the shape of a two-headed jaguar, flanked by priests in terrifying masks. He is not a large man, but the power that radiates from him is immense. His eyes, dark and intelligent, find Pakal's in the crowd. There is no triumph in them, no anger, just the cold, detached interest of a master artisan examining a raw piece of clay he is about to shape. The first humiliation is not physical, it is far worse. A priest steps forward, holding not a blade, but a set of stone chisels and a wooden mallet. He is a sculptor. He approaches Pakal, and the guards force him to his knees, his head pulled back, his face exposed to the sky. The crowd falls silent. The only sound is the chirping of insects and the distant lap of the river. The priest does not speak. He simply places the cold edge of the chisel against Pakal's cheek, and then, with a sharp, precise tap of the mallet, he begins to carve. He is not cutting flesh. He is defacing a monument. He is recarving the sacred lines of a king's face, altering the features that his people believed were a reflection of the gods. He is transforming the face of a divine ruler into a permanent, grotesque mask of subjugation. Every tap of the mallet is an act of uncreation. This is not torture. This is theology. They are not just scarring a man. They are killing a god in public, while he is still alive to feel it. If you believe that history is written by the victors, you are only half right. light. It is also carved into the skin of the vanquished. What happened next in that plaza went beyond the known brutalities of ancient warfare. It was a calculated descent into a kind of psychological horror designed to break not just one man, but the spirit of his entire people. Subscribe to Crimson Historians, because we are about to witness an act so profound in its cruelty, it was recorded in stone, not to be forgotten, but to serve as a warning. The chisel's work is finished. Kinich Pakal's face is a ruin, a landscape of raw, bleeding lines that mock the noble symmetry he once possessed. The pain is a white-hot fire, but it is distant, a storm raging on a far horizon. The true agony is in the silence of his own gods, the silence of his ancestors, whose faces he can no longer claim as his own. He is a stranger in his own skin, but Lord Smoking Jaguar is an artist of despair, and this is merely his first brushstroke. The second humiliation is aimed not at his face, but at his name. A scribe is brought forward, a man with the delicate hands of a scholar and the dead eyes of a functionary. He carries a codex, a book of folded bark paper, and a brush made from the finest squirrel hair. The guards force Pakal's head down, exposing the back of his neck to the silent, watchful crowd. The scribe dips his brush in a pot of black ink, a mixture of soot and sacred water, and then, on the skin that was once anointed with holy oils, he begins to paint. He is not writing a word, he is painting a glyph. It is a complex symbol, a combination of a snarling bat and a shattered shield. It is the Maya glyph for Chajum, which means the scattered one, or the one who is made to be less. It is a name given only to the most disgraced of captives, a brand that signifies not just defeat, but a complete and total loss of identity. His name, Kinich Pakal, Great Sunshield, is a statement of power, a connection to the sun god himself. This new name is an undoing, a negation. It declares him to be the opposite of all that he was. He is no longer a shield, but something that has been shattered. He is no longer a sun, but a thing scattered into darkness. And this name is not just whispered in a dungeon. It is painted on his skin for thousands to see, a living billboard advertising his own erasure. The ink is cold, but it burns like acid. He can feel the lines of the glyph forming, feel his old name being smothered beneath this new, hideous label. He is being rewritten. This is a form of magic, a dark ritual of unnaming, and he is powerless to stop it. He is no longer the author of his own story. He is merely the page upon which a victor writes his triumph. The crowd murmurs, a low, satisfied hum. They understand the semiotics of this. They are witnessing the transfer of power not through the exchange of tribute, but through the theft of a man's very essence. The third humiliation is the most intimate. It is a violation aimed at the core of his being, as a king, a husband, and a man. From the side of the plaza, a procession of women is brought forward. They are from his own court, the wives of his generals, his cousins, and at the very end of the line, her face a mask of impossible, silent grief, is his own wife, Lady Ixtzakbu Ajau. She is not in her royal robes. She is dressed in the plain rough cotton of a commoner, her hair unbound, her jade ear spools gone. They are all being presented as new, secondary wives for Lord Smoking Jaguar and his highest-ranking commanders. It is a standard practice of conquest, a way of absorbing the lineage of a defeated dynasty. But the way it is done is what transforms it from a political act into an act of profound psychological torment. One by one, the women are forced to walk past Pakal, who is still on his knees in the centre of the plaza. They are made to look at his ruined face, at the glyph of shame on his neck. They are forbidden to speak to him, to show any sign of recognition. They must look upon the man who was their king, their husband, their protector, and see only a thing, a broken object. When his wife approaches, their eyes meet. In that single fleeting moment, he sees an entire world of shared memories, the birth of their son, the quiet evenings in the palace gardens, the scent of her hair. He sees a love that was the bedrock of his universe, and he sees it being systematically dismantled before his eyes. She does not weep. Her control is absolute, a final, defiant act of royal dignity. But her eyes are screaming. She is forced to walk past him and kneel before the throne of Smoking Jaguar, who takes her hand and raises her up, a gesture of ownership for the entire city to see. And in that moment, Pakal understands the true genius of his enemy. A quick death would have been a mercy. This is an eternity of death in a single moment. Smoking Jaguar is not just taking his city and his life. He is taking his past. He is conquering his memories. He is forcing him to watch as every significant relationship, every bond of love and loyalty is publicly and ceremonially unmade and then remade in service to his conqueror. Pakal's body is still alive, but his social world, the entire network of relationships that made him who he was, has been executed. He is now a ghost, forced to haunt the ruins of his own life. The man who was a king has been reduced to a spectator at his own funeral. The sun beats down on the plaza, but for Kinich Pakal, the world has gone completely and irrevocably dark. If you are still watching, it is because you recognize that true horror is not always found in the heat of battle, but in the cold, calculated dismantling of a human soul. What comes next is the final act of this public theatre of cruelty, a ritual so extreme that its images would be carved into the very walls of the city to be seen for centuries. Subscribe now, because we are about to enter the temple and witness the final transformation transformation of a king into a god of nothing. The sun, which had been his god, is now his tormentor. It hangs directly overhead, a merciless eye in a white-hot sky, baking the limestone plaza until the air itself shimmers. The preliminary rituals are over. The king has been unfaced, unnamed, and unmanned in the eyes of his people and his conquerors. But these were all merely acts of social and psychological warfare. The final act is a sacred one. It is a dialogue with the gods themselves, a final bloody confirmation of the new cosmic order. Drums begin to beat, a slow, deep, hypnotic rhythm that seems to rise from the very earth, the heartbeat of the jaguar god to whom this city is consecrated. Priests, their bodies painted black and red, their faces hidden by the grotesque masks of underworld deities, begin to chant. Their voices are low, guttural, a language of power and dread. They form a circle around Kinich Pakal, and the crowd, which had been a roaring beast, falls into a deep, expectant hush. This is the moment they have been waiting for. This is the Holy of Holies. They are no longer spectators at a military triumph. They are communicants in a divine ceremony. Pakal is hauled to his feet. His legs, stiff and bloodied, can barely hold him. Two priests, strong as stone, hold him up, their grips like iron claws on his arms. They turn him to face the Great Pyramid, the temple of Lord Smoking Jaguar's patron god, and they begin the slow final ascent. The staircase is not just a path of stone, it is a cosmological map. Each of the 91 steps represents a day in a season, a journey through the calendar, a climb towards the heavens. For a king in his glory, this ascent was a triumph, a moment of drawing closer to the gods. For Pakal, it is a death march. Every step is an agony, his bare feet scraping on the rough-hewn stone. He can feel the heat of the sun-baked steps through the soles of his feet, a constant searing pain. He is not just climbing a pyramid, he is being sacrificed to it, one step at a time. The crowd watches his slow, painful progress in absolute silence. They see his stripped and scarred body, his head bowed not in reverence, but in utter, soul-crushing defeat. He is a living embodiment of the Maya concept of pits, the cosmic ball game, where the fate of the loser is not just defeat, but total annihilation. He is the ball, being played by the gods, and his destination is the underworld. When they reach the summit, the world opens up. He can see the whole of Yaxchilan spread out below him, a living tapestry of plazas, temples, and homes, all nestled in the green embrace of the jungle. He can see the Usumatinta River, a silver serpent winding its way through the world. For a dizzying moment, it is beautiful. It is the perspective of a god. But he is not a god, he is the offering. On the flat platform before the temple entrance stands a stone altar. It is not a pristine, polished thing. It is a butcher's block, stained dark with the blood of countless offerings, both animal and human. The air up here is different, thick with the cloying, sweet smell of old blood, and the sharp, clean scent of copal incense burning in a dozen censers. The two priests force him onto his back on the altar. The stone is impossibly hot against his skin. His arms and legs are pulled taut and held down by four other priests, stretching him into the shape of a star, an offering to the sky. He stares up at the blinding, empty blue. There are no gods there, only the sun, and it is no longer his friend. From the dark interior of the temple emerges a new figure. This is the Ar-Narkom, the high priest of sacrifice. He is a terrifying sight. He wears a towering headdress of black feathers and a kilt made from the flayed skin of a jaguar. His face is painted a deathly white, and his eyes are circled in black, giving him the appearance of a skull. But it is what he holds in his hands that stops Pakal's breath. In one hand he holds a long leaf-shaped flint knife, its edges so sharp they seem to cut the air itself. In the other he holds an obsidian mirror. It is a teskatl, a scrying glass, a tool used to communicate with the other world. The priest raises the obsidian mirror high, angling it to catch the full, brutal force of the sun. He directs the concentrated beam of light onto Pakal's exposed chest. It is a blinding, searing point of light, a star being born on his skin. It is the final brand, a marking not by man but by the sun god himself, reclaiming the life of the man who had dared to call himself Great Sunshield. Then the priest lowers the mirror and raises the knife. He speaks, and his voice is not human. It is the voice of the jaguar, a low snarl that echoes across the silent plaza. He is not speaking to the people, he is speaking to the gods presenting the offering. He calls Pakal by his new name, the Scattered One, and declares his life forfeit, his divine energy ready to be consumed to feed the city, to ensure the rains will come, to keep the sun on its proper course. Pakal closes his eyes. He thinks of his wife's face, a final perfect memory in the face of oblivion. The jaguar priest places the tip of the flint knife on the burning point of light on Pakal's chest. There is no more fear. There is only a strange, cold calm. The long, agonizing process of his unmaking is finally over. The drums below reach a frantic, thundering crescendo. The priest leans forward, putting the weight of his body into the blade, and the sun, the god he had once embodied, is finally, mercifully, extinguished. The story of Kinich Pakal, as you have just heard it, is not a fiction. It is a composite, a narrative woven from the glyphs on captured thrones, from the defiant monuments of Yaxchilan, from the forensic evidence of bones found in sacrificial cenotes. This wasn't just warfare, it was a dark, public theatre of power. The Mayans didn't just kill their enemies, they deconstructed them, piece by agonizing piece, in a ritual designed to prove that their gods, their king, and their city were the true centre of the universe. If this journey into the brutal, psychological landscape of the ancient world has moved you, if it has made you question the very nature of power and belief, then subscribe to Crimson Historians. Because history is not just a collection of dates and names, it is a chorus of voices, and some of them have been screaming from the tops of pyramids for over 1,000 years, and it is our job to help you hear them.